Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor. In today's video, we're going to unlock all the secrets of growing ginger, one of my favorite plants, both in the garden and in my kitchen. Ginger is one of the most popular and most cultivated plants around the world. Ginger can be grown all year long with an unlimited harvest. Why? Because you can grow ginger inside your home in a pot or in a container. Today's video will be a ginger master class. So if you ever wanted to grow ginger in your home, but weren't sure how, after today's video, all your questions will be answered. So for those of you looking for that online gardening channel that offers tips, tricks, easy, proven gardening advice to take your home gardens to that next level, don't go anywhere, guys. Stick around with me today. Start with going below this video and clicking the subscribe button. If you are enjoying the content of my gardening videos and want YouTube to send you notifications every time I upload a new video, don't forget to click that bell icon as well. YouTube will notify you every time I'll upload a new garden video. Now let's get gardening. Ginger was one of the very first crops to be exported from Asia. You can dry ginger, you can candy ginger, you can boil ginger, you can even pickle ginger. There are over 1 million uses of ginger in your home and in your kitchen. In today's video, you're going to learn how you can grow your own ginger in your home, in a pot or a container, and how you can get an abundant ginger harvest all year long. When growing ginger, many refer to this as a ginger root. It's actually not a root, guys, and in a minute I'll tell you exactly why. This is called a ginger rhizome, and today I'm going to show you how you can grow your own ginger from a supermarket purchased ginger rhizome in a pot or a container. So let's get started. As I just mentioned, this is not a ginger root, guys. This is called a ginger rhizome. What is a rhizome? Some of you might be wondering. Rhizome is a modified underground stem. So rhizome grows just a bit below soil surface level. Now, the rhizome, as it grows, it spreads, it creeps outward towards its right and left side. So a rhizome does not grow upward. A rhizome always grows out sideways. And as it grows and creeps wider, it will shoot out stems. So that green growth or that green foliage that we will start seeing in as little as 2 months after planting are those shoots that the rhizome is sending up. So here is a ginger rhizome, which I actually purchased from my local supermarket. I actually purchased few of the ginger rhizomes from my local supermarket. So now in this segment, I'm going to give you step-by-step, easy yet proven instructions on how you can select and purchase the best ginger at your local supermarket for gardening and planting purposes. So here are the rhizomes, which I've actually purchased recently at my local grocery store. As you could see, they're different shapes and different sizes. These are absolutely huge. Take a look at this one. It's longer than my entire palm of my hand. I have some medium-sized rhizomes over here, soaking in this little container. And in a few minutes, I'll explain why I have these guys soaking, pre-soaking over here. And then I have the smaller sized rhizomes. So these are the broken segments of the rhizome that apparently somebody broke off at the supermarket. So what is that tip number 1? When shopping for the best ginger rhizome you can get your hands and money on for planting and gardening purposes. That tip number 1 is sizing. When choosing a ginger rhizome for planting purposes. The larger, the better. Why? Because the larger sized rhizomes will grow much quicker than the smaller sized rhizomes. They already have more of a head start in their life than the smaller sized rhizomes. You will also get to harvest your ginger in a shorter amount of time if you plant a larger sized rhizome. Now, when shopping at a supermarket looking for that ginger rhizome, try to look for the loose ginger rhizomes versus the bagged ones, the packaged ones. Why? Because the pre-packaged ginger rhizomes are usually smaller segments like these. So supermarkets tend to break up ginger rhizomes into smaller pieces, into smaller segments in order to pre-package them. So always try to go to your refrigeration section and look for the loose rhizomes, the ones that are sold by pound. If your local supermarket doesn't carry loose ginger rhizomes, try looking at an Asian supermarket as well, or Asian store, grocery store. Asian grocery stores do most of the time carry and sell loose ginger rhizomes, the ones that are sold by pound versus by packaging. Now, what is the tip number 2 when choosing the best and the correct rhizome? Let me show you over here. You always have to look for these growths. They almost look like little horns sticking out from the sides of your ginger rhizomes. Let me show you what they look like on a larger rhizome. Take a look, guys, over here. Again, they almost look like little pimples or little horns sticking out. So these little horns are called the buds or the eyes. So now, these eyes is exactly where the stems of your ginger plant will be growing from. So the more of these eyes or buds your ginger rhizome will have, the more stems you're going to get, hence a larger ginger harvest. Sometimes it's easier to find them, sometimes it's harder. Sometimes these little eyes or buds tend to hide on us between, the segments, but always look closely, examine your ginger root and look for those eyes. Again, the more eyes, the better. Because as our rhizome will grow and spread out below that soil surface, it's going to shoot out those stems. And again, those stems will grow exactly from these buds or these eyes. So the more buds your rhizome will have, the more stems you're going to get and the larger harvest you're going to get. Now, if you decide to break up your ginger rhizome, your larger size ginger rhizomes, into smaller ginger rhizome segments such as this one, or even this one, which is a medium-sized ginger rhizome segment, you're still going to get those shoots and those stems, but you're going to get less of them. Why? Because by breaking up your large-sized ginger rhizomes, you are eliminating those eyes or those buds. So smaller size ginger rhizomes have less amount of these eyes or buds. Hence you might only get 2 or 3 of those shoots and those stems. Now, the larger the ginger rhizome is, the more photosynthesis it's going to get. The more energy it's going to get. Hence, what, guys? The larger ginger harvest you're going to get. Now, you can easily grow ginger at your home from a supermarket purchased rhizome. Now, if you are purchasing your ginger rhizomes from a local supermarket for gardening and planting purposes, make sure that the rhizome which you will be purchasing will have at least 2 of these eyes or buds. So examine the rhizome thoroughly. Even this medium-sized rhizome, I can count 4 eyes or 4 buds in it, which is perfect because we want as many eyes as we could possibly get on one rhizome. Also, feel the rhizome for texture. A healthy Good quality ginger rhizome should never feel mushy or soft to the touch. The texture should always be firm. The rhizome should never be mushy or wrinkly or shriveled up. If you feel any of those mushiness, it being shriveled up, soft to the touch, if you see any signs of a rot, mold, or fungus, do not purchase those rhizomes. If you purchase a clean, good rhizome, but when you bring it home, it starts to show signs of mushiness, being shriveled up, starting to mold or rot, discard of it, guys. Because if you plant that rhizome in a container, it will rot away before it even starts to grow and to sprout for you. Always try to get and purchase organic ginger rhizomes. Why? Because organic rhizomes are not sprayed and not treated with a growth inhibitor. However, if you cannot get your hands on a large-sized organic ginger rhizome, you can purchase your regular standard ginger rhizomes. What you should do in that case, you should always let your ginger rhizomes soak, pre-soak in some sort of a tray or a container with tap room temperature water for at least 24 hours. Why? Because you want to rinse off as much of unnecessary debris as well as that possible growth inhibitor, which is exactly why I have these ginger rhizomes pre-soaking in this water for the last 24 hours, and I'm going to plant them with you guys today. So when is the best time to grow ginger? Best time to grow ginger is in the late winter, spring seasons. Why? Because the air temperature will start to slowly go up as those seasons progress. Now, while the temperature is still on the colder side, you can keep your container with your ginger rhizome growing inside indoors. And as those temperatures will warm up, you can slowly relocate your containers outside. You can also grow ginger in the fall as well. Again, if those temperatures are not fluctuating, remember, you do not want to expose your ginger to cold, windy temperatures. If that's the case, keep your container with your ginger plant inside indoors, whether it's in your green room or conservatory or even in the middle of, your kitchen. Just remember, ginger roots do like sunlight. They like bright sunlight, but not too much of direct bright sunlight. Morning bright sunlight with some shade in the afternoon would be the ideal growing condition for ginger plants. Ginger is not your typical root vegetable, say like a potato, where potatoes have to be planted very, very deep, say at least 6 inches below the soil level. When planting our ginger rhizomes, we plant them just a bit below the soil surface. No deeper than 1/4 to 1/2 inch below the soil surface. In fact, when we cover it, when we backfill it with soil, you should still see some of your roots, some of your ginger rhizome exposed on top. So now that we spoke about how ginger grows, ginger rhizomes, now it's only appropriate to talk about the container. What container should you choose to plant and grow your ginger in? What is the correct container that you should choose? Again, ginger rhizomes, as the stalks come up, they grow outward, horizontally, from left to right. They do not grow upward. They spread and they grow below the soil surface. Hence, it only makes sense to choose a container that is shallow and wide. The width will be ideal to give enough spacing for the ginger rhizomes to grow outward. It doesn't make sense to choose a container that's deep and very narrow, as the rhizomes will not have enough space to spread out and grow. So here's the container in which I will be planting my ginger rhizomes today. As you could see for yourself, this container is very short, it's very shallow, but it's very, very wide, which is actually perfect for the size of the rhizomes that I will be planting today, which are relatively large. Again, take a look for yourself. When planting this, look how much space it'll be taking already. Yet, there will still be enough space on all four sides of this container. So this rhizome will have enough room to grow even more. So what is the next very important component to think about and to consider when planting ginger rhizomes? And that component, of course, is the soil which you will be using. The soil which you will be using should be a good quality, organic, very airy, very loose, well-draining soil. When you're choosing the correct soil, make sure that the soil is nice, loose, and airy. Those ginger rhizomes do need that loose, airy texture in order to creep out and to expand and to grow. Also make sure that the soil will be high in organic matter. Rhizomes, ginger rhizomes are heavy feeders. They will need lots of that organic matter as well as fertilization during their growing stages. Now, while you can pre-sprout your ginger rhizomes in a bowl of water or in a container full of water, watch them sprout and watch their root system start to grow, and then you can plant them in a pot or a container. But you can also plant them directly into the container because essentially their growing process will be exactly the same. Like they would sprout and grow in a bowl of water, they will sprout and grow the same way in a container. So now let me show you how I'll be planting this ginger rhizome right here in this container. So I will be using this Foam Organic potting mix. Very, very nice. Soil does wonders for me and my garden in my home. For those of you who are not familiar with the soil, I will link it in the comment section below. I am not associated with this Foam Organic. I do not profit from this company, as many of you have been asking me. I simply recommend their products, their fertilizers, their soil, because they work for me in my home, for my plants both inside and outside. So I always highly recommend their products. Now, you want to pre-fill your container with the loose, airy soil. If you feel any clumps, any lumps, try to break it up with your fingers. Again, the rhizome needs to be planted only about ½ an inch below the soil level. So fill up majority of your container with the potting mix. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to position the rhizome and how you should backfill your rhizome so it grows according to plan. There you go, guys. I'm loving the texture of this potting mix. It's actually great organic product. A little bit more. I'm just going to fill the soil up to this brown line over here is what I'm trying to do. Here you go. Looks perfect actually, like so. Now, this rhizome has been pre-soaking for 24 hours. Again, I wanted to make sure I wash off any unnecessary debris as well as any growth inhibitor if that was the case. Now, here is our soil, here is our rhizome. So I'm going to position the rhizome in the middle of the container, right on top of the soil. There you go. Now we're going to backfill. Remember, you don't need much, roughly 1/4 to ½ an inch of soil. And it's okay if you will see some of that rhizome exposed. It's absolutely fine. The goal is for it to grow and spread outward versus upward. Here you go. And if you're touching it, you could see some of it exposed right over here, some of it exposed over here. Don't panic. That is absolutely fine. That's what you want to be seeing. Now that you planted your ginger rhizome, what is next? Do you water it? Do you fertilize it? And where should you place this pot or container? I'm going to answer all of those questions right now. First, you should water your rhizome thoroughly. I use room temperature tap water. Remember where ginger grows in nature. It grows in Asia, Central East Asia, where they get lots and lots of rain monsoons, if anything. So you should always, you want to water your ginger thoroughly. If the root gets exposed a little bit, it's okay. You can cover it back up with the soil. You want to make sure also the container you're choosing will have good drainage. If the container doesn't have drainage holes, try to drill your own, make your own drainage holes. If you will overwater your ginger rhizome and it will not have proper drainage, the rhizome will rot before it even starts to sprout. Perfect. So now we have watered the rhizome. Our ginger rhizomes are heavy feeders. So in about 2 months or so, you will start to see your ginger rhizome sprout. You're going to see green stalks starting to come up from those buds, those eyes. Now, the ginger at that point will not be large enough yet for you to harvest. So how long does it take from the time you plant the rhizome till the time you could start harvesting your ginger? I say in about 5 to 6 months from the time you plant it. Don't try to harvest it before, as it will not be large enough. It will not be ready to be harvested. So here we are, guys. We have planted our ginger rhizome and I've relocated the container to my green room. Here you could see I have other containers with herbs growing. I have my house plants growing in this room. This room is actually ideal when it comes to the light amount as well as temperature. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, ginger likes bright yet indirect sunlight. If the sunlight will be direct bright sunlight, the leaves of the stems that will start coming up will get scorched and burnt and damaged. Morning sun with afternoon shade is ideal. When ginger is grown commercially, it is typically grown in the spring season. Why? Because of lots of rainfall during the spring season. And it goes well hand in hand with how ginger is grown in nature in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia has tropical climate. What does tropical mean? That means warm temperatures, lots of humidity accompanied with lots and lots of rain. Heavy rain. And that typically happens during the spring season. And ginger loves light, humidity, warm air temperatures, as well as lots and lots of continuous daily rainfall. So I like to fertilize my ginger roughly once every 2 weeks with organic slow release fertilizer. You could choose granular fertilizer or liquid fertilizer. Again, the rhizomes are very heavy feeders and you will have to consistently fertilize them. I water when the soil feels dry to the touch. I always used to like to use my index finger, touch the soil about 1 inch down or so. If I feel the soil is dry, it's time to re-water. Now I'm going to leave my ginger here. And in about 2 months, I'm going to see those beautiful green stalks come up. Now, in this last segment, I'm going to talk about all the possible problems that you might encounter, issues when growing ginger. Ginger is an easy plant to grow, considering it will provide all of the requirements and the conditions that it needs. So sunlight, moisture, temperature, humidity, all of those. Now, what is one problem you can run into? If you're seeing the tips of your ginger stalks start to brown, what does that brown cup pigmentation indicate? That most of the time indicates lack of watering, too little moisture. So what you want to do is, one, you can water more frequently. You can add some wood chips or natural mulch to the topsoil of the surface, as that will help retain the moisture content. Now, if you are seeing the leaves of the stalks start to turn yellow, yellow is an indication of either overwatering, so you're washing out the nutrients. As I previously said, ginger is a nutrient-loving plant. It's a very hungry plant. It loves its fertilizer. So if you are not fertilizing on a regular basis, the leaves of your stalks might start to turn to yellow color. Or say you're fertilizing and your leaves are still, or your stalks are still turning yellow. That means you're overwatering, and by overwatering, you're washing out all of those nutrients that you have been adding through the fertilization process. Now, what happens if you expose your ginger plant, the ginger stalks, to too much direct bright sunlight? You're going to see the edges of the leaves on those green stalks start to look brown, sometimes even black colored, and you will see them turn dry and crispy. That means they got sunburned. Otherwise, there are pretty much no other issues that you should encounter. One more issue is rotting. That goes back to the watering, excessive watering. If that starts to happen, you're going to lose your ginger rhizome altogether. So the key here is to water consistently and thoroughly, but don't overwater. Don't cause the rhizome to rot. This is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. In today's video, I gave you a full ginger masterclass. We spoke about how you can select the best ginger rhizome that you can get your hands and money on for planting purposes. What container is the best container to use? What soil is the best soil to use? And as well as other care and maintenance tips. For those of you who enjoyed the content of today's video, if you found today's video to be informative, helpful, and useful, show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Don't forget to leave me your comments in the comments section as well. I love reading your comments, and I personally respond to each and every single one of you. For those of you who haven't yet subscribed to my gardening channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor, what are you waiting for, guys? Super easy for you to do, yet super pleasing and rewarding to me, knowing that you guys love watching my videos and that you find the content of my videos to be helpful in your own home gardening. Everyone, be healthy, be safe, stay warm and well, each and every single one of you. And I hope that in today's video, I taught you easy yet proven tips on how you can grow an abundant amount of ginger in your own home, in a pot or a container. Be well and happy gardening, guys, and I'll see you again in my new upcoming gardening videos. Bye, guys.